What's up, guys? I'm back to you guys with another one. And this video here is going to be on politics. Okay, you see, I got a map pulled up of Africa and the so-called Middle East. The first thing I want to point out is the fact that we don't know if this map is correct. If you guys been following me, I'm always an advocate of independence, monitoring our own population, our own people, creating our own maps and surveying the lands. So I don't take this map to be accurate, but let's say in the case that it is accurate, right? Hypothetically, if you're dealing with an enemy that is a large enemy, it states in the art of war, what you do is you break them down, you separate them, and you go after the enemy's weakness. So then the best method of attack is an ambush. It's the best method of attack, but it's a defensive method, it's a counterattack. But the best offensive strategy is something called a pincer attack, and that's an attack you launch from both sides. So if you wanted to destroy a powerful enemy, they're going to try to launch some type of pincer attack. So let's analyze the Muslim world. Okay, as you see, Israel is right there next to Egypt. It's right there, slap dead in the middle of the Muslim world. It's separating the Berbers, the African Muslims from the Arabian Muslim and the Persian Muslim. As you see, so it's cutting the Muslim world into two, separating the two. Okay, that's the first thing you have to understand. How can you attack Egypt if you need to attack from both sides? Well, the attack can either come from the Sudan or it could come from Libya. As we know, in 2011, Barack Obama attacked Muammar Gaddafi. It would be a strategic attack to attack Egypt if they could get a hold of that land in Libya. They can launch a pincer attack on Egypt with Israel and Libya and take out Egypt, which is important to note that the most powerful countries in Africa right now is Egypt, Algeria, okay, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Angola. See, it's important to note that the African Union is already established, but it's going to become more prominent and it's going to be more of a threat somewhere down the line in the future. So that's important. It's important to think about that when you considering Angola, the Congo, Botswana, and all those countries down there in the southern Africa. But for right now, all the other countries in Africa, they all weak. So if the Muslim world ever was to get united, then all those other countries in Africa, they will all be immediately conquered. There wouldn't even be a challenge. Okay, Somalia. Okay, I get Somalia, but Somalia is not even that much of a threat. So let's analyze what happened in Libya. Okay, they say Muammar Gaddafi got his castles bombed. How could it be the case that you're a king of your own country and you have your country bombed? Okay, you telling me you didn't have no anti-aircraft weapons? You didn't have any anti-aircraft weapons? Well, the thing is, if you know anything about boxing, if you can't defend yourself from a jab, then the jab is just going to keep coming. It's going to keep coming. You go back and look at that Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson fight. He could not stop the left jab, and it just tore him up all night. If you can't stop the jab, which is these airplanes invading your airspace, what makes you think you're ready to lead? You know what I'm saying? It should be impossible that the white man was able to even fly his planes into your country. So now that he did that, we have to ask ourselves, did you have the technology to do it? I know you had the money. Did you have the technology to do it? Did you have the know-how? And if you did have the know-how, what happened? Was there some infiltration involved? Did someone disengage the security systems? What happened? something happened in Libya that allowed them to fly their airplanes into their airspace and deliver a knockout blow, and that took out Libya. So now Egypt is in a threat of a pincer attack. So now we see where all this Egypt propaganda comes into effect. Mind you, keep into consideration all this Egyptian mania started in the early 1900s. Prior to the 1900s, there was no such thing as no freaking Egypt on the minds of African people in the Americas. Okay, all this stuff is new. Okay, so now let's turn our tails to the Middle East. We know Iran is the most mightiest. Iran and Pakistan is the most mightiest nations in the Middle East. Okay, so how would you attack Iran? Well, obviously, you see the war in Afghanistan is critical because now you got one side and you need to come from the other. You got the right side. Now you need to come from the left side. Then you got Iraq. Okay, the attack in Iraq. So now you're setting up a pincer attack in Iran, and the decision, the critical thing is what's going on in Turkey, because you see Turkey got the northern part of Iran. So if Turkey sides with the West, they can launch a mean pincer attack on Iran and destroy them, which is what they're trying to do. And the same thing is going on with Saudi Arabia, or they're trying to get Yemen. They're trying to get all these countries surrounded, so that's how they can attack them. Okay, it's important that you know that. So if the Muslim world was somehow to stop all those wars and protect themselves, their airspaces or whatever, and they all became unified, the sheer might would easily wipe out most of these countries that's in Africa right now. Niger, Mali, Ghana, the Congo, Angola, all that stuff would get wiped out immediately. So the white man knows this. That's the reason why he's working so hard to try to destroy the Muslim world, because there's no African country in Africa right now that have the economy that's ready to compete. And see, now y'all got to know about economics, okay? And in economics, the people who got the most money, they always gonna have the monopolies. They always gonna have. You see, the United States, they have a monopoly. A monopoly is when you have an entity that have they put the regulations, and they have the main control over a product, over something. So you got to look up the United Nations, and you got to look up NATO. So all those countries align, they form as some type of monopoly. Okay, and what they do is they prevent other countries that they don't really care about from having access to the benefits that these monopolies have, and they can up the prices to wherever they want to be. They can set rules. They can create guidelines. They can say this currency is more expensive than that currency. They can do that because they have the monopoly now. They have control over the goods. Okay, so there's no country in Africa right now that has control over goods like that. And they all the economies are unstable. Nigeria right now is the only country right now that has a fairly stable economy. So can Nigeria stop the white man? Not likely. Not likely. If Nigeria decided to want to invade Niger, Chad, or something like that, and expand their borders, they'll have to do so, without provoking the wrath of the white man. They don't have the might right now. Okay, and the unified African Union, yeah, they oppose somewhat a threat, but not really, because their economy is not where it's at. They don't have nuclear weapons. Okay, Iran has nuclear weapons. All those countries down there in the Middle East, they all got nuclear weapons. Pakistan got nuclear weapons. Okay, Saudi Arabia got nuclear weapons. All those countries down there got nuclear weapons. So you have to understand that Then, besides Nigeria, that's the only country that you really looking at that pose a threat to the white man. The Muslim world is the one who is going to take out this European, and no other culture, because they don't have the might. No other culture has the might to face them. That's the truth of it all. So if you don't have the might, to face them, don't even waste your time. Don't even waste your time, because you're gonna get squashed like a bug.